What's up, Applied English? Happy Ice Day, I suppose, as we approach today's lesson virtually. I do apologize that it took me a little bit to get this video out. I did have to change a couple things about today's lesson in order for us to be virtual. As per usual, it is a virtual day. If you haven't said a quick prayer just for your learning today, I encourage you to pause this video now, say a quick prayer just before you continue in our lesson video. Otherwise, we'll just be continuing forward right now. Our objective for today is just following up on what we were doing a little bit last Friday. I know some of you missed class on Friday. We'll talk about that in a bit. But we will be using today to continue outlining our introduction paragraphs. I do know a number of you have finished that already, so I want to walk you through how to turn that in once you're done. I also want to give a little bit of a preview of this week, so you can kind of manage your time and your materials wisely. I am noticing some of you starting to fall behind on Black history essays. Today's a good day to catch up on those things. Right now, you're watching the Submitting Your Introduction video. That should be a really quick little just reminder on how to complete your introduction outlines. We'll look at that in a moment. I'm also just going to give a little brief preview of the rest of this week towards the end of this video, so please keep that in mind. Please watch through this whole video. Besides submitting your introduction outline today, another good use of your time today is to catch up on your evidence log for your Black history essay. As a reminder, I am sending home grade reports tonight, but I will do one more just really brief look through on evidence logs before I send grade reports. So if you want me to re-look at your evidence log, I would encourage you to hit the submit button on it one more time. I am happy to add some points back in for any research that you do today that you may have fallen behind on. I'll show you where to access that in a moment here. Homework-wise, might as well give this reminder now. Again, I want you to get your introduction outline in by tonight. We were going to turn it in class today anyway, so it gives you a little bit of time to do that. We'll also talk about binder check here as well. As we give a little preview of this week, you can use today to kind of prepare your binder for a binder check this week too. So submitting your introductions, the video that you're watching right now, notice that I had moved our introduction outline assignment into today's folder. As it says, in class we will begin working, this was on Friday, actually last Wednesday, Thursday, working on our introductions using the attached document. If you do need a refresher on introduction paragraphs, I did attach last semester's PowerPoint you can look through on your own. But otherwise, I want you to turn in your introduction outline today. You should see a button on the right-hand side under submissions here that allows you to upload a submission. A couple of ways that you could do that. One, if you would like to download this document and fill it in virtually, you can absolutely do that by clicking on its file, filling it in, and then resubmitting it as a file right here. I know some of you did yours on paper already, so one thing you could do is just take a photo of each side of your introduction and submit it into the submissions box on the right-hand side. Again, I can look through both sides of your introduction and kind of see what your plan is for that. Another way that you could submit this, let's say you don't have access to the outline and you maybe forgot to bring your paper copy home. What you could do is just kind of outline on paper, maybe click view on the introduction outline to see its steps one more time. Maybe just do it on a piece of lined paper and then submit your photo that way. I do want to give you all day to get that submission in. I do want to give a little brief reminder of what your outline may look like. So I'm looking at mine right now. One thing that I would do is write two example thesis statements for your topic. Again, mine is Frederick Douglass. A good one-sentence thesis might say something like, Frederick Douglass has greatly influenced American history by escaping from slavery, then dedicating his life to abolishing it. I think that's really close to one of the ones one of my classes came up with, as you guys helped me last week. Another option is to write a two-sentence thesis, and I might write mine this way. Frederick Douglass. Notice that I'm filling in the blank with my topic. You would do the same with yours. Is an influential figure in American history. He, I can get rid of she, he was male, impacted society through his, and now I can finish that second sentence, right? I might say he impacted society through his experiences and writings about the evils of slavery. Sorry if there's a weird jump in my video right there. It took me a little bit to kind of figure out how I wanted to frame that statement, but I think it works as a two-sentence thesis. Frederick Douglass is an influential figure in American history. I could have used was there, but is just fine. He impacted society through his experiences and writings about the evils of slavery. These thesis statements work for this assignment because they do cover his upbringing, his escape from slavery, his experiences. It does cover his accomplishments, dedicating his life to abolishing slavery. He worked as an abolitionist, as a politician. His writings about the evils of slavery, it's largely how he worked as an abolitionist. That's his accomplishments. And it invites me to talk about his legacy as well. Frederick Douglass has been dead for a long, long time, so I can discuss kind of how we remember him today and how his work continued onwards even after his death. 3 parts of an introduction. Again, attention getter. You can use any effective strategy you like. As a reminder, last week we talked about asking a deep question, avoid yes or no questions. Dictionary definitions can work. What else? Famous quotes can work. Facts or statistics can work. If you want to maybe start off with a fact that might surprise or shock your reader. Anecdotes or storytelling can work as well. And as another reminder, outlines do not have to be in complete sentences. So let's say I know that I want to start with a famous quote. I might just give myself a note. Start with one of Douglass's famous quotes. I don't necessarily have to decide on which quote that is right at this point, but notice that I'm just giving myself a note right there. That is totally fair for outlines. The more that you do write in complete sentences, the easier this will be as we're drafting later this week. But keep in mind, you don't necessarily have to write outlines in complete sentences. From there, I actually usually do my thesis statement, which I've already done. I can decide which of these templates I like better. Knowing my own writing style, that 2-sentence thesis is what I liked better. So I'm going to Control-C that. And I'll paste that in as my thesis. Wow. And then in the middle, I've got the background sentences. I have to connect my attention getter to my thesis. Let's say I just want to do a little bit of background about the quote that I chose. I might say something like, this quote, or the speaker of this quote was a famous Black American named Frederick Douglass. And I might just give some real basic information. See how I'm mentioning his experiences and writings about the evil of slavery. Douglass is remembered today as one of the most important abolitionists in U.S. history. Blah, blah, blah. I might continue background sentences from there. I wouldn't go any more than 3 or 4 background sentences for this particular essay. Let's see how it leads into my thesis. So, I've got a famous quote. The speaker of this quote was a famous Black American named Frederick Douglass. Douglass is remembered today as one of the most important abolitionists in U.S. history. Frederick Douglass was an influential figure in American history. He impacted society through his experiences and writings about the evils of slavery. I think that works as a basic introduction. I could always change it later as I'm drafting my essay, but it's this sort of outline that I'm looking through from you. Whether you did yours on paper and you want to take some photos of it to complete today and submit, or whether you want to download this, do it online, and submit that way, I'm fine either way with that. One thing I would say is that if you're having trouble with this step, please hit me up in Microsoft Teams this afternoon. I'll be using this morning to kind of wrap up my lesson planning, but this afternoon I plan to be available in Teams so I can answer any questions you may have about uploading your submission. I do want to see a plan for your introduction because that will help us continue forward on typing our essay later this week. Speaking of later this week, I do want to give us a little preview of what's ahead. One thing I would mention is that I did leave last Friday's lesson folder open right here, so if you need to go back through and see what we did on Friday, you can. Please note, once again, your Black History Essay Evidence Log is there. So if you need to go back through that, continue some research, add some more evidence, you'll find that in Friday's lesson folder. But once again, I will check one more time today before I send grade reports. So keep that in mind if you are using today to catch up on research as well. Moving forward, though, if we go into past work, week of February 22nd is available, so you can kind of see what's ahead this week. I do want to give a brief look of what we're doing in our block lesson this week, as well as Friday. So as we look at Thursday, we will take a look at body paragraphs. We'll do a little bit of review from last semester. So if you have your How to Organize a Paragraph notes in your binder, by all means, you'll want to have those in class during the block lesson. Because we will review those once again, get a little refresher on writing body paragraphs. And then from there, we're spending the majority of our time in class during the block outlining our body paragraphs. We've got 3 of them to plan, so I want to give you some time in class to do so. It's going to be difficult to do this step if you're not done with your evidence logs, so keep that in mind. You'll want to have some evidence planned before we outline body paragraphs. You'll also notice that I want to do a binder check this week. Technically, I should have done this last week, but we didn't have a whole lot of great time in class to do one. Notice that I'm setting it to be due by the end of the week, so if you're ready during our block lesson, that's great. If you need to check on Friday, I'm fine with that as well. But as far as binder checks goes, I'm just checking this one out of 10 total points. So I'm just looking to see that your binder is properly set up, so it's got all the sections in the proper order. And I'm also looking to see that you have materials in their proper places. So that would include making sure that materials for other classes are out of your English binder. But it would also just to make sure that everything is in its proper labeled spot in your binder as well, to make things as easy to find as possible. Again, if you're ready for this binder check during the block, I will do that as you're working on your body paragraphs. Otherwise, I will check your binder on Friday as we start typing. I should note, if you need to see how you should be setting up your binder, I did include that document inside of this assignment, so by all means, feel free to check that as we prepare for tomorrow as well. The last thing to look at is Friday the 25th. In this lesson, we will begin typing our essays right there based on your pre-writing. So we'll pull out our outlines, pull out our evidence logs, and be able to start actually drafting out full essays from there. In class, I will be demonstrating just how I set up documents in Word Online, so you can follow me as you set up your draft then. We should have some time on Friday for you to start typing out your full essay. You might be able to work through your introduction, maybe one body paragraph from there. But then we'll just continue typing into next week as well. So keep in mind, I'm trying to build us enough time to type on this essay in class. If you do fall behind on this assignment, you will have to type up this essay on your own. So be sure to maximize your class time and use it wisely. I have jabbered enough on this video, so just a little fresh reminder, again, most important thing today is to make sure that you are completing and submitting your introduction outline. A couple of ways that you can do that. You can upload photos. If you want to download the document, fill it in online, and then turn it back in that assignment, that's fine as well. You can also use today to prepare for our binder check. Again, take a look through your English binder, make sure it's ready to go. Just want to check it out of 10 points this week. I'll be available on Microsoft Teams this afternoon if you need me. Until then, have fun and good luck. Stay warm today on this very icy day. Peace.